So, for my first video on YouTube showing myself in person, I chose to elaborate on the famous BBC series Ashes to Ashes, the successor of the equally successful series Life on Mars. And I decided to answer a lot of questions that were asked in forums all over the internet. Or, it's not really answering them, it's sharing my thoughts on them. So I guess we could start right about now. What is the Coma world? In my opinion, the Coma world is some sort of purgatory. Everyone in this world is dead. The fact is that death made them forget their real lives. It's like when you die, you forget. So Alex Drake is not dead, she's in a coma, and Sam Tyler wasn't dead either, he's in a coma too. Or he was in a coma, or whatever. We'll get to that later. Um, so as they didn't die, they didn't forget about their real lives. They have their real life memories still intact. So they are caught somewhere between life and death in a world that connects life to death, so to say. Who and what is Gene Hunt? I think that he's dead too. In season 3, episode 1, we first see this dead copper, this young dead copper with the bloody face or muddy face or whatever that is. And I guess that might be what Gene Hunt looked like when he died. So my guess is that maybe Gene Hunt didn't realize he died, and by his strong will to live and his strong imagination, he built up a world of his own, a world in which he continues to live, just as if he didn't die at all in the first place. So he didn't want to let go of life, and he didn't want to let go of all the people around him. In real life, he was a copper too, maybe also a DCI, and so that's the same thing he does in his world, not knowing that it's just a construct of his imagination. So he cleans his world from evil the best way he knows how. So that's what his job is. And also, he keeps the persons he loves around him. He doesn't want to let them leave his world. Again, unintentionally, because he doesn't know his world is purgatory and keeps those souls from being set free. That's my guess on Gene Hunt. Now, my favorite question is, what happened to Sam Tyler? In Life on Mars, as a viewer, you get really connected to him. It's like you would be him and you would be entering this world and trying to get out and everything. You can relate to that. So it's a question that, you know, that keeps me busy all the time. And I thought about that a lot, as I said, and here's what I think. In season 2, episode 4, there's Jackie Queen again, who also appeared in Life on Mars. Um, and she said to Alex that Sam was married to Annie, and that they were the happiest couple she'd ever seen. So um, after Sam jumped from the roof and got back to Coma World, um, everything was a lot better. So he managed to leave Coma World. How he did that, I think it went like this. He was on his way to a crime scene, sent there by the Gov. And there was some task he had to finish, some crime he had to solve, some case he had to crack, and it kept him busy. And that's the way Gene keeps the persons around him. He keeps them busy, giving them cases to crack and something to worry about, something that occupies them. So maybe on his way to that crime scene, he got a mind-blowingly positive piece of news from Annie. Maybe she told him via police radio walkie-talkie thingy that she's pregnant. For Sam, nothing's more important than his relationship to Annie. That's what keeps him going on. So when he finds out something that big, it's like nothing else is important anymore. So his mind didn't seriously have to cope with that case that occupied him and occupied his soul. So his soul was completely at peace, completely serene. So his soul left the coma world and finally entered the afterlife for good. His corpse was never found, but maybe that's because there are no corpses, because there are no physical bodies. In this coma world, it's just souls. So who's Keats? Most people I read the post of said that or thought that he's the Reaper, harvesting souls for the dark side, for evil purposes, whatever. Um, he seems to know what Gene Hunt is, and thus he knows that Gene prevents the souls from being set free, and thinks of Gene as evil. Um, on the BBC website, you can read some letters to Chief Superintendent Nicholas Callahan from Keats, um, and there you can read the following passage. I was with Louise when she expired, it says. I was holding her in my hands, Nick. Despite her grievous betrayal of the force, I could not help but be moved as she lay in my arms fighting for life. I believe that just before she died, forgive my hubris, I helped her find some peace of spirit. So he tries to save the souls of those who die in Coma World. He tries to make the souls that die in Coma World move on to a good place, maybe. And he does not know that Gene Hunt is good too. Now, what's going on with Alex Drake? You know, the real Alex Drake in 2008. In some interview, Marshall Lancaster, who plays Chris Skelton, said that the viewers will watch one specific scene once the series is over, and that'll be a certain part in season 1, episode 1. You remember that scene when she stands on, I think it's Piccadilly Circus, and, you know, she's back in real life, yet her mind is still occupied with the 80s world. That could be because Gene has strong feelings for her, so that by this strong force, his world even bleeds into the real world, calls out to her, and makes her come back. She's there on Piccadilly Circus, and just before she hits the stone wall of a small prison cell and finds herself back in the 80s, you hear a car honk. So I guess she has an accident, somebody crashes into her, she dies. And in season 3, episode 4, you see her in a coffin, being buried. That's the real world. She's being buried. Maybe she's even being buried while she's still sort of alive, waking up for just a short glimpse, and then, passes back into unconsciousness, back into coma world. Yeah, that's what I think happens to her in real life. So, what might happen to Alex? I think the whole end of the series could be as follows. She might find out what it's all about. I guess she will, because we viewers must know the big picture. And it's often been said that the end of series 3 will answer all the questions. So she's in love with Jean, and when they both find out what happens, what's going on, the big picture about the coma world, um, maybe Alex gets some visions from the real world when cops dig out the corpse of Jean, the young dead copper. The whole coma world might dissolve because they both know what's going on. They're both in love. They both see what this world is, and their souls can be serene too. They can be, completely at ease, completely at peace, everything. And so that might be what happens. I can hardly wait what will be shown in the last remaining 2 episodes, episodes 7 and 8. I'm dying to know. So, waiting impatiently for the last 2 episodes. I know the feeling. It's like that feeling you had the few days before Christmas when you were a child. It's really, really tension. So I'm with you. Have fun and until next time.